I'm in my 30s now, and I'm over 4 million yuan in debt. I haven't had a good night's sleep for over a month. It's past 5 in the morning, and I still can't sleep. When you've had tough times, how hard was it for you? Let me tell you, I'm in a rough spot right now. I don't even have enough in my pocket to pay for my child's school fees. This woman used to be a successful business owner with assets worth millions, multiple companies, 2 homes, and 2 cars. However, 3 years of the pandemic, combined with betrayal from a trusted friend, led her to complete financial ruin, leaving her with nothing. She felt desperate, but eventually, she realized her parents still cared about her, and her children needed her. She decided to start over. Around the world, countries swiftly bounced back after the painful pandemic, but in China, the economy shows no sign of recovery and continues to decline. Many companies survived the pandemic only to be hit by the ongoing downturn, forcing them to close permanently. Small business owners have been hit the hardest, with countless heartbreaking cases appearing online. One such story is from a dessert shop owner, who used to be a piano teacher with a stable income and a relaxed life. In 2020, she ventured into her first business. When my first store opened, the business was fantastic, bringing in 120,000 to 130,000 yuan monthly. I had borrowed 300,000 yuan from my father, which I repaid quickly. By the second year, I opened a second and then a third store. I kept investing, expanding, building warehouses, and adding all kinds of equipment. But with all these expenses, my costs skyrocketed. At its peak, her business had 10 branches in Sichuan, each with about 13 employees. But by 2023, the entire market took a sharp downturn, and her business struggled, just like many others. Each store lost a huge amount every day. When I was on the verge of breaking down, my family encouraged me to go cycling. My mother told me, "It's okay, sweetheart. Take care of your health, and you can start over." Eventually, she closed all her stores. Unable to pay rent, her landlords repossessed
That's pretty garbage advice.
the properties, leaving only one shop still available for transfer. She is open to anyone interested in taking a look. Each night, she lies awake, with her hair falling out in clumps. Every morning, the first thing I think of is how to pay off debts and loans. What's next? I might sell goods on the streets, using up leftover materials and slowly paying off what I owe. Many women who faced similar entrepreneurial failures have taken to the internet, sharing their struggles and hoping for empathy. Their stories reveal the harsh reality in Chinese society today, where money often takes priority over relationships. These bloggers use their experiences to caution other entrepreneurs, encouraging them not to give up and to find strength to rebuild. This message is from a close friend of mine.
Well, you gotta be realistic. You can't just ride the hype train.
Her business has failed, and her husband divorced her. Since then, she fell into severe depression. 2 years ago, she borrowed 120,000 yuan from me to start her business. Now she's gone, so I'm tearing up this IOU. Our accounts are settled. This friend of mine was only 37 years old. I don't even know how to express what I feel right now. There's just a heavy sadness and regret. But this is the reality now. In life, as long as you're alive, there's still a chance. Once you're gone, everything's over. She's a businesswoman with 1.8 million yuan in debt. Her company went under, her marriage ended, and she lost everything. But she's still holding on, trying her best to survive. However, those she once helped have either left or disappeared, and no one is willing to lend her any money. Even her half-brother wouldn't let her stay for a night. She said it proved a saying. When you're poor, friends disappear like leaves from a skinny tree. When you have nothing, you'll find yourself treated worse than a stray dog. Due to the economic downturn in China, many private business owners have gone bankrupt. There's another former businesswoman, Lin Zi, who is 44 this year.
I mean, if you're not sure about that, I'm not gonna propose that this is true for all people, but if you're not sure about that, just look at how many friends the homeless man has, who are possibly not homeless.
Her company went bankrupt, her business collapsed, and her house was mortgaged. Overnight, she went from a businesswoman to a single mother with debt. My name is Lin Zi, and right now, I really have nothing left. I tried asking for just 500 yuan from people I had helped in the past, family, friends, but no one wanted to lend.
Yeah, but what is this? So a bunch of like previous rich women just record themselves with their phone and also looking fancy, presumably. This is fancy. Just crying into it. What?
To me. In October, a blogger named Xiang Xiang posted a video on Chinese social media. Born in 1988, she's turning 37 soon, and her child is only 5 years old. This year, her company went bankrupt, her marriage fell apart, her house was mortgaged, and now she's 3.7 million in debt. In tears, she shared that no one will talk to her.
Then these guys are brutal. Like, okay, things are going bad, like boom, divorce.
Even her older brother refused to help her.
Or maybe she divorced, who knows.
So she walked alone through the streets at night, vowing to start over. This low point is also my new beginning. From now on, I won't rely on anyone. I'll face everything on my own. To those who look down on me, just watch. I can do this. A woman named...
The problem about that, the thing is, the rich get richer. That's usually how it works. So people like to imagine that there's gonna be some magic bouncy floor when you like fall down. No, it just gets worse.
Lulu, who is 28.
So you need to turn it back around as fast as possible. Don't hope for some magical rush of willpower as things get worse. Or that you're gonna get lucky, or it's gonna be easy just because you're down.
Also lost everything because of debt, with nowhere to turn. Even her family refused to take her in.
How many credit cards do you
Even her
have?
family refused to take her in.
What's cold, man?
I'm over 4 million yuan in debt, credit cards, online loans, and private borrowings. I've shouldered this alone for 3 years and 3 months. I've been through everything one could imagine. Dozens of collection calls a day have pushed me to the edge. My company went bankrupt, and I've lost my home. This is like the saying, a poor person in a remote mountain still has distant relatives, but someone quiet in the city gets no visitors.
Poor person in a remote mountain still has distant relatives, but someone quiet in the city gets no visitors.
I finally understand that, no matter how
Huh. What an interesting saying, and true.
big someone else's roof is, it's still not as good as having your own umbrella. I never expect anyone to feel sorry for me. I've carried this all on my own. After experiencing
But why are you recording this video?
the darkest times in life, you should see it as a moment to rise from rock bottom. The harsher reality gets, the
Yeah, the thing is, like, you need to believe in this when you're at the rock bottom. Because what else you would believe in it? Even though this is not realistic. I think we can both realize this. It is not realistic, but you need to believe in it. Oftentimes people believe in this, like, yes, of course I can make it. Like, the hero falls into the pit, and of course they can make it out. You hope in this, you believe in it. But realistically, they're just gonna die there.
the stronger I must be. The wave of company closures has left many
If you're not sure, read history. Terrible writer.
employees jobless. In August, Shanxi Province's largest private enterprise, Donglin Group, filed for bankruptcy. It had an annual revenue exceeding 100 billion yuan, but now 18,000 employees are at the risk of being laid off, and the supply chain is also feeling strain. Donglin Group was once the top seller of construction steel in China and ranked 58th among the top 100 private companies in China. As of last year, Donglin Group remained the largest private enterprise in Shanxi Province, with a revenue of over 570 billion yuan. Its businesses span supply chain services, metal smelting, mining energy, financial investments, and real estate. Industry analysts point to reasons such as overexpansion, market fluctuations, and poor management. Some say Donglin's close ties with real estate were a major factor in its downfall. In September, another prominent private company, Wuhan Contemporary Technology Industry Group Limited, filed for bankruptcy restructuring. Once among China's top 500 enterprises, Contemporary Group's operations covered pharmaceuticals, tourism, real estate, film, culture, and finance. As of September 2020, its total assets exceeded 100 billion yuan. A subsidiary of Contemporary Group, Renfu Medicine, recently disclosed in its announcement that the group faced 161 lawsuits and arbitrations over the past year, totaling about 32.3 billion yuan due to debt issues. Economist Pan Heling stated that companies filing for bankruptcy restructuring are unlikely to recover unless someone steps in to take over. Pan said, with such large companies, the debt structure is incredibly complex, and few are willing to take on that risk. In addition to the 500 top private enterprises, there are 28 massive private conglomerates in China, with total assets exceeding 10 trillion yuan, including Delong, Tomorrow, Fosun, HNA, Lenovo, Yongjin, Zhongzhi, Sunpower, and Baoneng Groups. Currently, a third of these have gone bankrupt, been dissolved, or taken over. Others are facing severe financial challenges. The ongoing crisis in China's real estate sector has also deeply affected smaller construction materials businesses, leaving them in debt as well. What line of work left you with over 6 million yuan in debt? Construction materials. Then I was caught up in a financial scheme. At your peak, how much did you have? Over 1 million yuan. Are you still in the construction materials business? No, I stopped because of the financial scheme. So now you're not doing anything? That's right. Did it feel like your life was falling apart instantly? No motivation left to keep fighting? Do you still have your house and car? I sold everything. Every last bit of it. With big companies.
Okay. But they're still kind of dressed pretty well. So it doesn't really add up, right? Do they just live on the streets and look this fancy?
Closing one after another, small private businesses are suffering even more. It's not just female entrepreneurs facing challenges. Some male business owners are also
Maybe staying with family members and they're totally broke.
struggling with failed investments.
We finally closed down. In March 2024, we ventured into the restaurant business, and by October 2024, we finally shut down. All the beautiful visions for the future have completely shattered at this moment.
This business owner was born in the 80s. Reflecting on his experience, he acknowledged that his past decisions seemed foolish in hindsight. He shared that the past few months had been mentally and physically draining. Despite his efforts, he hadn't made any money, and his family's well-being had also suffered. Anxiety weighed on him daily, as each morning he would wake up questioning how he would cover both his shop's expenses and his family's needs.
Man, rubbing the wall and the shelf is not gonna help.
Now he's cleared out his stock and closed his store, but the emptiness remains. He reached out, wondering if others are going through similar struggles, and invited anyone facing life's challenges to join him in figuring out a path forward.
Looking back now, it was so foolish. These past few months have taken a huge toll on my mind and body. Money, I didn't earn any. Family, I didn't spend any good time with them either. Every day was filled with anxiety and torment. The moment I opened my eyes, it was all about money. Where did the daily expense for the store come from? And where does the money for household expenses come from?
Another figure, known as Big Brother Si, was once the chairman of Beibei Group and founder of the Beibei Alliance brand. His company was worth over 100 million yuan, but after bankruptcy, he found himself 15 million yuan in debt, wandering Chongqing's streets alone at 3 a.m.
I started working.
What the fuck is this? I'm seeing like a common thread here. What the fuck is thread? So they're just walking the streets at night alone, dressed all fancy.
At 16, doing security, then factory work, and eventually spent 20 years in entrepreneurship. I built a fortune, owned 13 amusement parks, 5 clubs, clothing factories, and more. In 2020, COVID hit. My businesses couldn't operate, and I saw hundreds of employees and their families depending on me. I maxed out credit cards, borrowed from friends, and even mortgaged my home and car to pay wages.
Despite the debt, he's determined not to give up.
Okay. Supposing that he lost money on it and tried to keep his business afloat and kind of like helped out his employees, I would say that this could be a plus, right?
He's moved to a new city to seek
Assuming this story can be taken at face value, then it is kind of respectable.
fresh business opportunities. The couple behind Parker's Women's Clothing also posted a short video showing their new life after going bankrupt. In the video, the husband explains that now, burdened with debt, they even sold their last car. When they need to check out goods at the market, they can only take the subway.
It's about a 10-minute walk to
Yeah, but why do they look so fancy?
the subway station. My wife has never taken the subway before. We've had to change how we get around. We used to have cars and a driver to pick us up. Now, it's the subway for us.
However, the public has voiced considerable frustration about these massive private conglomerates. One online user recently remarked, "What bankruptcy? All the money is flowing overseas, while debts are left to the state. The big players lose nothing, and ordinary people foot the bill. It's just a massive transfer of wealth. Who doesn't see through this trick?" Due to mounting economic issues, the Chinese Communist Party introduced over 300 reforms during its latest third plenary session. In relation to private businesses, the document proposed drafting a private economy promotion law to break down market entry barriers, open up competitive infrastructure sectors to private entities on equal terms, establish a long-term mechanism for private firms to participate in significant national projects, and encourage capable private companies to take on critical national technological tasks. It also promises private companies better access to major national scientific research infrastructure. Additionally, the document mentions resolving private businesses' financing difficulties by strengthening mid and even post-event regulation and standardizing administrative checks on private firms. Yet, economic experts remain skeptical. Sun Guoxiang, associate professor of international affairs and business at Nanhua University in Taiwan, stated, "The third plenary session may have listed many decisions, but fundamentally, it still imposes excessive restrictions on private enterprises. This is tightly connected to the CCP's nature. If it wants to push further reforms, it first needs to reform itself." The CCP currently seeks a balance between state-owned and private enterprises, aiming to elevate state-owned enterprises' standing while fostering a certain degree of confidence and space for private companies. However, it struggles to find this balance because it is unwilling to show true market privatization. Professor Sun predicts that a deteriorating environment for private enterprises will lead to slower economic growth, higher unemployment, decreased innovation, growing social dissatisfaction, and
Although it's worth saying that other countries, poorer countries, are kind of privatized and they're not rich. So that doesn't necessarily make you rich, and protectionism does have its place.
An accelerated capital flight. The widespread closures of businesses in China have also led to severe social issues. Many workers find themselves unemployed, unable to secure a job to support themselves, and online complaints about hiring difficulties are common. In September, China reported an unemployment rate of 17.6% for young people aged 16 to 24 who are not in school, marking the second highest rate this year. With young people struggling to find jobs, they're spending less and changing their consumption habits. According to statistics from Tsinghua University, China's second-hand market reached a value of over 1 trillion yuan in 2020, with expectations of exceeding 3 trillion yuan by 2025. This second-hand economy is particularly popular among 18 to 34-year-olds who find second-hand goods less financially stressful than new ones. While this trend reflects rational consumption, it may also be linked to China's economic downturn.
The greatest truth in this video was when you're broke, friends disappear like leaves. I have personal experience from family members who treated their dogs better than me. I know how it feels to lose everything, but brother and sister ignoring me hurt the most. I'm smart and very capable. I've worked very hard. It's been a couple of years, but I'm finally alone and healing in my apartment. But I got some good news for you. Suppose you get real rich, then suddenly you can rekindle the relationship with them. A good friend will always stab you in the front. Life is tough. Like when they took our jobs in the West, it's hard to feel sorry for them. Yeah, they're not the cheapest workers. So, and this happened to the West. Still, it's not exactly great. Like, yeah, fuck you. Like, we were fucked. No feminists in China, I see. Oh, yeah, those guys bailed fast. I guess. Yeah, but most of all, looks like having assets worth millions doesn't mean if the world thinks those assets are worthless. Yeah. People tend to forget that money and, like, your stuff, like, it's really up to other people.